What's up, people? I get a lot of questions like, how do you stay motivated, or where do you get your motivation from, or just stuff like that. Like, how can I stay motivated? Or like, I go to the gym for a week and then I stop, and I just, how do I go about fixing this? And to be totally honest, I actually don't even have the answer, because nothing really makes sense when you think about motivation. Like, is it actually a real thing, or is it just some kind of like quick kick in the face that we always need, and then something else has to take over? You know, whenever I got asked about motivation and stuff, I'd always give people an answer that was like, it's kind of like way too thorough and like analytical. I'd talk about how we're just cavemen and like we do things based on survival. That's why we're pretty much like just apes that are meant to procreate and stuff. So that's why our brain tells us to eat food. It's why our brain, like, it's why water tastes so good when you're so thirsty. It's because your body is trying to motivate you to drink water to survive. And I've been thinking about this in the shower this morning. I was thinking, like, does our brain want us to like work out for survival? And it almost seems like the answer is no, because if it was meant to be, everyone would just be so fit, always at the gym, always just on track of everything. So in terms of like getting motivated to exercise or, you know, eat healthier, I don't think that, like, when you really think about it, our brain prioritizes that over something like eating food or drinking water, or, you know, seeking out a sexual partner. And that's why it's so hard, I think. Guys, fun fact, one of my favorite stores to go to is, it's a place called Treehouse, and it's actually in nature, and one of the best things they have here is sunglasses. You pick them right off the tree and they're like freshly made. So if you guys have a Treehouse store in your area, definitely check it out. I highly recommend it. So this is why I think motivation is so hard when it comes to things like going to the gym or, you know, like trying to better yourself. It's not like something where, you know, you're thirsty and your body's like, go drink some water. Calm down, Mr. Dog. And it's not like things like brushing our teeth, because think about it. Nothing in our brain is like, oh, brush your teeth for survival, or maybe it is, you know? So that's why it's an interesting kind of dilemma. Like, why is it that we don't forget to brush our teeth, but we don't put forth the same effort with like staying motivated to go to the gym? And one of the main like ideas I had about this, and it's in my ebook, which you should all, you know, probably invest in if you really want to just get everything you need to know about like how to better yourself and better your fitness with my approach. My approach is kind of like, do stuff and stuff will happen to you, and don't stress about the rest. So the way I explained it in the book, I was talking about how human beings are like naturally always looking for like the short-term fix. So I talked a lot about like how we always go for like what is going to be good right now as opposed to later. So in the book I gave the example of like getting home from work, and instead of going to the gym, you watch Netflix, because like you get the pleasure from just like relaxing and watching Netflix instead of like the effort with no real immediate reward of like going to the gym, sitting in traffic, having to deal with everyone else who's at the gym, and just kind of like having to deal with whether or not you actually are going to make progress or see progress or get an immediate reward from going to the gym. So what is this all leading up to? It's leading up to the fact that, if you want to put this in an analogy, motivation is a lighter, it's a match, it's a spark, and it's not the full fire. So I think a lot of people are thinking like, oh, this motivation, the motivation I get, it's gonna be the fire that's gonna burn forever. That's not the case. You by yourself looking for motivation is like you going in the forest with one match and just expecting a fire to magically light, when you really need to like kind of collect yourself and collect wood and like tinder and stuff and actually put your fire together. Because it's fine to have like the spark to go and do something, but if you have nothing to actually light with that spark, what are you gonna do? You're gonna sit in the forest cold and be like, what did I do wrong? That's a good analogy, I like that one. Yeah, so you people keep that in mind. If you want me to explain it again, I will. So you guys are all walking around, you know, you're like, how do I get motivated? Which is kind of like, how do I start this fire with this match, but I don't have any wood? And the answer is you can't. I mean, you could probably like light a match and watch it burn out, which is pretty much the same as like watching a motivational video and just being like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go do some stuff. But then you never actually go and do anything. Or maybe you do something today and you do nothing the next day. Or you think that going to the gym today, you're gonna get muscles, or going to the gym, doing some cardio, you're gonna lose all this body fat. And that leads to another whole topic, which is like, nothing happens overnight, all right? It's story time with Pickering Fitness now. I'm gonna tell you guys a story about me, my struggles, and kind of like how I've overcome the whole having a match and it burning out thing. Now, as you probably can't tell from my body, I've been going to the gym off and on for the past 6 or 7 years. And to me, it doesn't seem like that long, but to others, they're like, whoa, that's a long time. And let me tell you right now, it hasn't been consistent eating properly, going to the gym. Because when it comes to motivation, I feel like I understand it so much to where I can identify times where I'm not even motivated to go to the gym because I don't even see a benefit. So whereas there's times where I lack motivation but know I should go to the gym, there are also times where I simply don't even like fitness anymore and I just don't go. So that's where it's like weird with me, because there isn't a time where I'm motivated and I don't go, but there are times where I don't feel like there is any benefit to me going or even pursuing fitness. And this actually happened earlier this year, where I just kind of was like, I don't even know if I like fitness anymore. And I almost dropped the reasons why I keep doing it. So that's one thing you need to remember, guys. The first step to kind of figuring out some motivation and like a plan of action is to find a reason why not doing it is worse than doing it. You know, for me as an example, I know that not going to the gym, not eating enough will take me back to where I was before, and that place is worse for me to be in than the effort required to put in to actually not go back there. So that, I actually talked about that in the book. I talked about how you need to see the long-term goal being worth more to you than whatever you have now, or seeing things in the way I just explained, where if you don't do something, the result of that will be worse for you than the effort required to do whatever you don't want to do. So let's say you are a 260-pound female, and let's say you've lost like 60 pounds, all right? And then you're like, you know, the scale's not really dropping much anymore, I'm kind of losing motivation. And you're like, I don't know if I can do this. Well, think about it this way. Is the effort required to put into losing weight, going to the gym, eating healthy, is that harder than how you're gonna feel if you revert back to your old ways? You know, and you put back on the weight and you kind of like feel sorry for yourself. You gotta weigh those options. And typically, enduring whatever, you know, process you have to go through is better than reverting back to what you were, because you always kind of be wanting to move forward, and going backward is fine. That's fine, because I've done that many times. To be totally honest, I've only probably gained about 10 to 15 pounds in 6 or 7 years. And I always talk about how like your progress is your own, and I used to be the kind of guy who was like, you know, why is it me? What am I doing wrong? Like, why is everyone like gaining 40 pounds and why can they like lift all this heavy weight? And then I just started realizing like, but that's not me, you know? Maybe this is me. And the sooner you sort of realize that your own progress is your own, and that your own journey is your own, and that my circumstances are far different than someone else's, and maybe this is what it is, as opposed to why isn't my progress like this other person, you're gonna be a lot happier. So how do you go about actually getting a course of action so that when you have your match, you have something to light and you have a fire to keep going? So the first thing you need to do is figure out why you want to do this. Like, why do you want to eat healthier? Why do you want to go to the gym? Why do you want to gain weight, lose weight, whatever it is? Even if it's just like, why do you want to start making videos, you know? Or just doing anything. It's really just like, it's really going to come down to anything you want to do. Figure out why you're doing it. Because like I always talk about, it's the why that's going to help re-motivate you when you fall off. Because let me tell you right now, you're going to fall off. You're a human being, and anyone out there who says that they don't fall off is probably just lying to you to pretend like there's some kind of god and sell an ebook that doesn't actually help. Or something like a program that, you know, only works because they're taking something else, or they're trying to push a supplement because this is what they take and that's what keeps them grounded and motivated year round. And it doesn't work that way. Human beings are likely to fall off because we're not these like, we're emotional beings as opposed to like instinctual animals, you know? That's the difference. So we overthink about things, and that can change the way we act. So when I say this right now, you're probably going to fall off, and that's okay because that's human. And this leads to one of the most important topics, which is when you fall off, get back on, okay? Let's relate it back to that whole fire thing. If your fire goes out and you're trying to like survive, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna like pour water on your fire? Are you gonna walk away from your fire? Or are you gonna kind of like dig through the ashes and try to like get that fire going again, okay? It's kind of an extreme example, but think about it. If you're cold, naked, afraid on the Discovery Channel in the forest, are you gonna give up and just die? Or are you gonna try to get the fire going again? I'm probably gonna get the fire going again because I'm a Boy Scout and I can do that stuff. So yeah, that's what you have to do. Let's have a little chat about your why. I see a lot of people talking about like, you know, this is not a good reason to start, or you shouldn't start going to the gym to get girls or to get guys, or to, you know, do it for the vanity. And let me tell you why this is wrong for two reasons. And I'm going to tell you right now that that's wrong, because it pretty much is. Firstly, why is there a bad reason to start? Okay, let's look at it this way. A lot of guys, they start lifting to get girls, and then what? And then they discover that they actually love this. Maybe they go into powerlifting, maybe they go into bodybuilding, and maybe they find, you know, they find what they want to do with their life. And this wouldn't have happened if they hadn't tried to get fit for girls or something. So, firstly, there is no wrong reason to start. And that's super important, because maybe this is the gateway into whatever it is you want to do. And I like to also think that it doesn't matter what stupid reason it is for starting something. If it's going to better yourself, then there should be no complaints. You should do whatever is going to benefit you, regardless of how you get there. Within reason, don't do anything illegal. But you get what I'm trying to say. The second reason for why I think that is stupid is because let's look at that whole lifting to get, you know, whatever gender you're into as a stupid idea. Now I say that whole idea is stupid because as human beings, outside of all external reasons for doing things, we're simply here to be born, be raised, increase our self-worth, and then find a suitable mate to continue on the population of Earth. That's the circle of life. So anyone who says that, like, oh, if you go to the gym and try to get muscles for girls or guys, you know, that's too vain. When in reality, that's all life is going to be about at the end of the day, is, you know, finding someone to continue on the future population of human Earth, which is, you know, goes back to how we were as cavemen. It was trying to create more and more populations. And that's why I think the idea is stupid. Because, you know, on top of everything, like, I want to be healthy, or I want to be able to keep up with my kids, you know? I want to be able to keep up with my kids at the park. Well, how'd you get kids? by creating a child with a mate, which leads back to what we just talked about. So the whole point of that rant was, doesn't matter what reason, doesn't matter what your why is, it is a good reason, okay? Because any reason that allows you to progress, allows you to benefit, allows you to better yourself, it doesn't matter. Just figure that out. So now that you have your why, you need to figure out how it's gonna help re-motivate you when you fall off. So, you know, you're going along and inevitably you're gonna fall off. But here's what you have to do when it comes to that. You need to put your hands back on the bars. You need to think about, why did I start, all right? Maybe it was, I was a skinny boy and I don't wanna be that anymore. Or maybe it was like, you know, I wasn't happy with my weight. Or maybe you did simply just want to attract more people that you're attracted to. And you need to think about that idea and think about how that idea lit the spark at the beginning. Because if it could light a spark before, it can relight that spark. And all you really have to do is just like grab a hold of whatever you did before, and you just need to like, you just need to go and do it, okay? You just need to go past. That's all you gotta do. So now that you have your why down and you're gonna use it to help re-motivate you when you fall off, because human beings are gonna fall off, you have to start thinking about the most difficult step, because it's the one that is probably the most important, but probably the one that people end up stopping at. So in like a spectrum of like motivation, like a timeline, step one is your why. Everyone's like, I'm gonna do this, you know, I'm gonna get motivated, I'm gonna change my life. They're fine with that part, but it's when they get to step two, which is not only execution, but also realizing mentally that you are not going to see the progress you think you're gonna see, and that as soon as you wrap your head around that, you can kind of implement the whole idea of step two, which is like automating whatever it is you're doing, because you know down the line it's going to work and you're gonna see progress, but it's not gonna be immediate. And taken from someone like me, I'm sort of in that step two, step three, which step three is automation, you know? And automation is you're doing it because it's just normal to you. You see the outcome, you know what happens, you know what happens if you don't do it, and that's kind of where you want to be. So you often hear me say that the hours you put in the gym today are the progress you see weeks down the line. And that's so true, because I'll go to the gym for like a month or so and I'll wonder like, why is it that I'm not making any progress? And then like a couple weeks later, I'll be like looking in the mirror and thinking, wow, that actually did pay off. And for most people who are just starting out or who don't have that idea or that concept clear in their head, they kind of go to the gym for a couple weeks and they're like, why am I not seeing any gains? Or this is not working. Or especially in any circumstances where people are trying to lose weight and they don't know how to fix their diet, it's, I've been going to the gym doing cardio. Why am I not losing weight? I've been lifting weights, you know? Why am I not losing weight? And firstly, you could be gaining muscle and offsetting your weight loss. And weight gain doesn't always mean fat gain. So a lot of people who are doing this for weight loss and they don't change anything about their diet, and they say, oh, how come I'm not losing weight? You know, I'm exercising. And simply put, exercise is not gonna burn that many calories compared to being in a caloric deficit. So when it comes to weight loss and those who lose motivation, it's probably your diet that needs to get fixed. So when it comes back to that whole like fire analogy, once you have your spark, your match, your lighter, whatever it is, and you light that match, you know, maybe you saw, you know, someone's physique on Instagram, or maybe you watched a motivational video, or maybe you watched this video and you're like, I'm gonna take this spark now. Make sure you have something to light. So make sure you have a plan, like you're gonna go to the gym. And let's talk about that for a sec. A lot of people put their pressure way too high on themselves. They say, I'm gonna change all these 9 things about me, I'm gonna go to the gym 7 days a week, and that's already setting yourself up for failure. What you should really do at the beginning, like let's go back to the fire thing. Let's say you got your fire, you got your match, and let's take all the wood in the forest, all right? And let's throw all the wood onto our fire. light our match, throw it on, nothing happens because you're trying to put way too much stuff on. This squirrel is actually listening to me right now. So please like, comment, subscribe, Mr. Squirrel, as well as you guys. You're lighting your match. You're trying to throw on these huge logs, which is the example of going to the gym every day, trying to fix your diet, cutting out sweets entirely, which we'll talk about in another video. You're trying to do all these things, and that fire is not gonna light because you haven't built it up slowly and you don't have anything to actually catch. So what you should really do with your plan of action is like, get your match, give yourself like, I'm gonna go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week for like a month, okay? Find something that you can handle and you can sustain, because sustainability above everything else is going to see you see more progress. I'll give you another example here. If I give you the most perfect diet, you know, and let's say you lose 10 pounds in a month, but then you can't sustain it. After 1 year, you've lost 10 pounds. If I give you a sustainable plan where you lose like 1 pound a week and you're able to sustain this for 52 weeks, you lost 52 pounds. So the whole perfect thing is not perfect. Whatever is sustainable, whatever you can keep consistent is the perfect diet. There is nothing else that can compare with whatever you are able to sustain. So that leads back to what we were talking about, which is you need to find something that you're gonna be able to sustain, you know? So little sticks on the ground, birch bark, little pieces of wood, and you slowly build up to larger and larger sticks. That's what's gonna allow you to slowly over time build up the fire, keep the fire going, and eventually just like survive naked and afraid in the jungle or in the gym, whatever your journey is. So once you have that figured out, you know, you got your sustainable little plan in order, you're gonna go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, you're gonna try to watch what you eat, or maybe start tracking how much you eat, but don't worry so much about like cutting out everything, because that is gonna be way harder to sustain and you're probably gonna fall off. Which is another thing we're gonna talk about, which is a lot of people stress out about lack of progress, which leads them to stress eat or under eat, which then vicious circle into not actually making any progress. You just gotta pretend that whatever you want is at the top of a ladder, and you can't just jump up the ladder. You have to go up step by step, because trying to do things all at once is not gonna work. It's gotta be step by step by step, sustainable small steps, which is gonna lead you into the third phase, which is the whole automation process. Now that's where whatever you're doing becomes a habit, keeping the fire going, you know, making it second nature. So what if none of these things work? Then maybe what you're currently doing isn't the right idea. Maybe what you really need to do is step back and think like, is this really what I enjoy doing? Or do I need to, am I too comfortable right now? Do I need to take a leap of faith? And to be totally honest, a lot of people do need to take a leap of faith, you know? They need to change some stuff up because what they're currently doing probably isn't working. And it goes back to the whole idea of like, insanity is doing the same thing day in and day out, expecting a different result, and that's true. So if you hate what you're doing, or if you hate what you're doing in the gym, or you hate your diet, you're probably not gonna sustain it. And with that being said, even if you are sustaining it, if you're expecting results from something that isn't working, that in itself is completely counterintuitive. So keep this in mind. Maybe you need to take a giant leap of faith, okay? Maybe you're swinging and you're not sure what's gonna happen on the leap. And maybe you're not, you know, maybe you're comfortable with just swinging around. But the idea that swinging is not doing anything, there's a chance that when you take that leap, you're gonna end up somewhere that's good or bad. But if what you're currently doing isn't working, you have nothing to lose by taking that step. So go right now, take that leap.
Get to go for my passion like more, like during the week, like I start losing motivation because like other things get into the way. But then I realize that that's not good for me and my future, because then I'm just like leaving my passion behind, and things that motivate me to like keep going are just like writing lists on like little things I can do throughout the week that are related to my passion, and then that can help me. Or just like write down what's gonna happen in the future, like why not help future me by doing it now? And like,
that's good.
Yeah, realizing that it makes me happy, or is going to make me happy. Yeah.
That's like you just said what I was saying about how people always think about like short term,
yeah,
versus like how is this going to benefit me in the future.
Exactly.
So to summarize that whole automation process, the first thing you have to do is like, do you love what you're doing? Because if you're loving what you're doing, like if you love lifting weights or if you love going for a run outside, you're probably going to be more motivated to do that than something like knowing you should go for a run but not actually enjoying it. So the first step to making something automated is either you find something that you love, so you find out your why, and then you have your plan of action, and then you just stick with it because you love it. But oftentimes this is not the case, and even though I love kind of like lifting weights, I don't love it so much to the point where I'm like, oh yes, I get to go to the gym today and lift weights. That's actually not even my thinking. It may be maybe the thinking for some of you, but for me it's more like going to the gym and lifting weights is my way to maintain my body and progress it further. Is like my friend with the ukulele said, you know, even though she has something that she's so passionate about and she loves doing, she can still get demotivated from doing that, or maybe just like not have the time to do it. And as much as she loves doing it and it's a passion of hers, she actually has to kind of think about the long-term, you know, effect of her, you know, maybe practicing her ukulele or maybe writing a new song or something. She has to think about that as being worth more to her down the line than putting it off now. So if you're someone like that who, you know, you're not totally passionate about it to the point where you'd rather do it than go to sleep, then you're gonna have to just like push through and take the rewards where you can get them. So if you know that lifting weights or doing some cardio or eating healthier is gonna be good for you, but it's not something you love doing, you know, in the process, then you just have to make it an automated habit of yours. Just keep doing it day in and day out. And over time, believe me, it will become part of your day. You're gonna get up in the morning, you're gonna be like, oh, the gym is just part of my day. And if you don't go to the gym that day, you're gonna be like, something fell off. And some people can actually develop like an anxiety from like not going to the gym, where they're like, oh no, I'm gonna lose all my gains if I don't go to the gym. And this can either be good or bad, because like you don't wanna end up at a point where like you're overthinking about the fact that you didn't go to the gym and you think all your progress is lost. Because let me tell you something right now, no one ever got fit in one day and no one ever got fat in one day, okay? If I could go to the gym once and make all the progress I've ever made, then that would be amazing, but it doesn't work that way. So what you can't gain in one day, you can't lose in one day. If you're still actually watching this video 25 minutes in, why not give the video a like and maybe subscribe, maybe comment, because as much as it makes me feel good, pretty sure it does actually help up with the whole YouTube algorithm thing, which is hard to figure out. But anyways, in conclusion, I just want to go over the 3 steps again. We're almost done here. I want to kind of bring it on home. So you're looking for some motivation, you don't know where to get it. The first step is finding out your why, all right? There's no bad reason why you should start something. Lose weight, gain weight, eat healthy. There's no bad reason. So whatever your why is, find it, because it's that why it's gonna help re-motivate you when you fall off, which is inevitable because you're human beings. Step 2, with that why, you have to develop a plan, okay? Remember how we talked about the why is the match, and without like anything to light, which is your plan of action, you can't actually go anywhere with your motivation. So take your why, your match, collect up your plan, which is your wood, your sticks and everything. Take that match, you know, light it, build it up slowly. Small sticks, you know, small things like going to the gym once or twice a week, maybe starting to track how much you're eating. Don't start cutting everything out, because that's gonna be too drastic, and consistency is better than perfection. With that being said, the next thing, which is step 3, is you need to just keep on doing it. Keep on doing it till it's a habit, you know? And always keep in the back of your mind that the long-term goal is worth more to you than the effort you're gonna have to put in. So getting that fit body is worth more to you than hours, you know, slaving away at the gym. Keep that in mind. You know, if you guys have any more questions on motivation or how I can kind of help you further, leave me a comment on here, leave me a comment on Instagram, anything. If you're not already following on Instagram, you probably should, because that's where most of my helpful information is. Anyways, hope you guys actually got something from this video. It's kind of long, but for those of you who like my rants, hope you enjoyed it. That's all for now, guys. Just remember, peace, love, and tranquility.